This is Inpause, a Roblox channel with about 1.4 thousand subscribers. And before his channel's sudden purge, it was focused primarily on Roblox hacking videos. Needless to say, it's not typically the type of channel you'd expect that would cross paths with storytime animators of all things. But that's where you'd be wrong, and this would cause me and my friends to go down a massive month-long rabbit hole that we never wanted part in. But before I can tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. That's kinda epic, and as you can probably guess from looking at him, he primarily focuses on storytime animation content, or general animation content as a whole. In November 19th of 2023, Epic published a video and short talking about a Discord stalker. Now, I wasn't a part of this, so the best I can really do is offer speculation, but it's important that I tell this to you and that you understand, because this video will become very important later. According to Epic's video, he would be approached by a user on Discord named Retro85. Retro would introduce himself as a fan, and they would friend each other. He would also join a server that Epic was in, which was a server for another YouTube animator, PokeXAnimates. While there, Retro would gain moderator, and would also allegedly leak the IP address of another user there, the Content Cube. I happen to know and be friends with Poke himself, so I contacted him and wanted to know how much of this was actually true. Based on what he told me, it seems that the IP address leaked wasn't actually Cube's and was just a fake not working one. I couldn't actually get into contact with Cube. Okay, just cutting in here, I actually did manage to get into contact with Cube while editing, and according to him, his actual province was revealed, which means Pokey is wrong here, and Epic and Cube were right, it was a real IP. So yeah. But anyway, back to the rest of the video. The point is, this situation happened, and it was enough to scare Epic into making this video. And this would result in him attracting the attention of one of the members of the Progress server. His name was Bobux. Bobux would share this video with the rest of the server, and, well, needless to say, they weren't exactly fans. They ridiculed and made fun of Epic's content, and went into his comments to say many messed up things to him. Also, a quick side note, if you actively use KYS as an insult, you've permanently lost all my respect for you as a human being, and I don't consider you a human being anymore. This becomes all the worse when you remember that Epic is 13 years old. You could try and make the mild argument that they didn't know about Epic's age, but Epic's age has always been listed in his About page, and they make active reference to it continuously. They were perfectly aware of what they were doing. Thankfully, YouTube's gotten pretty good at removing these comments on its own. If there's ever a moment in time where you see less comments than it says there is, that's probably why. Don't quote me on that. At this point, the Progress Kissers were getting really annoyed that their hate comments were being removed by YouTube, as they should be, but instead of hanging up the towel and calling it quits, they decided to steal his voice. AI voices were a mistake, or at the very least, making the technology so actively public was a big mistake. Up until now, I'm sure a lot of us have only seen AI voices as tools for memes and the sort, and have used it as such, and I would know. I used them myself at one point. But after seeing how just terribly they can hurt somebody, I don't think I can look at them ever the same way again. Using a software called Biware created by user MP3, they were able to replicate Epic's voice using just one singular video. This would give them the ability to make Epic say whatever they wanted at any time, and that led to them making Epic say the most deplorable things ever. They ended up making a parody channel called That's Kinda Hot and posted all of their fake AI leaks there. I'm not gonna play any of them here, but if you're really curious, you can go ahead and look it up on YouTube, because believe it or not, despite how terrible these videos are, YouTube, for a reason that I don't understand, is letting these videos stay up. Just imagine, dear viewer, a future where if somebody didn't like you for any reason, they could slander your name just by using a few voice clips of you they found off the internet. And the fact that it's a small, unknown YouTuber like Epic just makes things all the worse. He can't do anything about it. And it gets worse, because they actually did this again to another YouTuber. And yes, it was another kid. I decided to withhold the name of the channel because it's clear that he was heavily affected by the situation and doesn't want to be a part of it anymore. In fact, he nearly left the internet as a whole. Unlike Epic's, however, it seems that none of his voice lines are released on the internet. And in the midst of all of this, they also made a point to raid our servers, continuously. It was generally more of the same. They were incredibly racist, harassed and targeted minors, all that stuff. For the longest time, I've just kind of been wondering why. I go through all the effort for all of this. Why Epic in particular? And I might finally somewhat have an answer now, because while editing this video, I actually managed to get into contact with both Bobux and Inpause. Bobux actually contacted me first, and part of the reason why was because I made a comment on one of the videos on That's Kinda Hot's channel, calling them out. At first he tried playing it straight and pretending that these were actually real. He eventually quickly admitted that the reason that he decided to pick on Epic was just because his video happened to be in his recommended. That's it. And as for the reason why That's Kinda Hot exists, well, it's the same thing. It's not even personal. They just felt like it and thought it was funny. And that was the reason for the raids as well. Even Impost, the creator of the server where all of this started and came from, wasn't even fully aware it was AI at first, or even what was going on. Keep in mind, Impost was the owner of the server. He was friends with these people, specifically Bobux. And even he admits that there was no real reason or motive as to why they decided to target Epic. They just picked him just because. According to him, Bobux just does whatever he wants, whenever he wants, at any time, with no worry for consequence. He even made the decision to shut down his server and for a short while, purge all of his old videos, part of that reason because he didn't want to be involved with the things coming out of that server, things like That's Kinda Hot. The most you could probably blame him for is the fact that he's the one who showed them how to make AI, according to himself. At the end of the day, looking at all of this as a bigger picture, it all just comes down to Bobux. All of the AI voices, the slander, the raiding, the harassment, all the threats, all of it happened because one person was bored and thought it would be funny. So yeah, don't slander people. In the meantime, keep yourself safe. See ya.